I'm in a tree, not because the lockdown has sent me completely crazy, although maybe there's an element of truth in that, but because I want to ask you whether you might be a digital Zacchaeus. What am I talking about? Well, there's a guy in the Bible called Zacchaeus, and one day Jesus came to his town, and Zacchaeus had heard about Jesus. He was intrigued about him and wanted to see what all the fuss was about. But when Jesus came along the road that Zacchaeus was on, he was surrounded by a thick crowd of people, and Zacchaeus, being a short man, couldn't see over the crowd to see Jesus. And so he climbed a tree and looked down from above at a distance from Jesus, kind of anonymous, separate from the crowd, but having a look. And I wonder whether at the moment there are quite a lot of digital Zacchaeuses out there during this time of lockdown with all the restrictions. Churches like my own are putting a lot of content online like this, like our services on Sunday mornings. And I think there are a lot of people who are asking big questions during these very unusual and difficult times, questions of life and death. I'm wondering whether there are any answers in the message of Christianity and the person of Jesus, wondering what all the fuss about him that they've heard in the past is really about. And indeed, whether it is all just a fuss about nothing, or whether there are some answers there. And so I think a lot of people are tuning in and watching anonymously from behind screens, seeing what they make of it all. Well, for Zacchaeus, he got a lot more than he bargained for, because just as that crowd and Jesus was passing underneath the tree that he was in, Jesus stopped dead in his tracks and looked straight up at Zacchaeus and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down. I have to stay at your house today." And of course, Zacchaeus was blown away that Jesus knew his name and that he wanted to meet with him. But he did just that. He got out of the tree, he welcomed Jesus into his home. And in the conversation between them that followed, his life was changed radically and forever. And I wonder, as you watch these things from home, whether you might be prepared for a similar thing to happen to you. What would it mean today for someone to get out of the tree and to meet with Jesus personally? Well, we hear Jesus speak to us and we learn about him as we engage with the words of the Bible, which is all about Jesus. And so if you've got a copy of the Bible at home, why not turn up Mark's Gospel and start reading about Jesus from there? If you haven't got a paper copy, well, you can go online, biblegateway.com, and search for Mark and start reading about him there. You can also join us for our online Sunday morning services where we engage with the Bible. That would be a great thing to do if you're not already. But once all this is over, once the restrictions are lifted, I think getting out of the tree might look like going along to a great local church near you, where you can be taught the Bible and find out more about Jesus in that way. You can come to Forward Church. We have services in normal time on Sunday and you'd be welcome. We also do this thing where we each term run a course for people who are looking into Christianity. We're actually running one at the moment over Zoom. It's not too late to join. Go to forwardchurch.co.uk/CE for Christianity Explored. Maybe you live nowhere near here and you don't know of a good church near you. If that's the case, drop us a message through the contact page of our website. Tell us where you live and we'll link you up with a good local church near you. But one way or another, if you identify as something of a digital Zacchaeus, I just want to say this to you. You may well be enjoying the anonymity that you can get from engaging with these things from behind a screen, and I can totally understand that. But I want you to know that just as with Zacchaeus, Jesus knows you by name and he wants to meet with you and he invites you to get out of the tree.